Hey, hey, NFA Money Mamas. Before we get started, I want to invite you to be a guest on the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm looking for women entrepreneurs who want to record a biz breakdown session focusing on actionable ideas that will help you scale your business more easily by getting into your zone of manifestation. You would be an ideal guest if you are a full-time woman entrepreneur with a service-based business and are in action scaling to the next level. This biz breakdown session is 100% free, so head on over to www.thewomanontrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for your biz breakdown session today. Hello, NFA Money Mamas. Welcome back to another episode of the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. Today, I have an awesome guest on for a biz breakdown session. So I have Laura Conley on, and I love that I got to meet her on Instagram. You all know, or maybe you don't know yet, I love to hang out on Instagram. So this is, I'd say, the number one place where I have found my rock star people to bring into the NFA community and now into the Women Entrepreneur Podcast community. And as you know, this is the third or fourth biz breakdown session that I've gotten to do with women entrepreneurs who are big-hearted, putting their energy, their heart, their soul, their effort, their time, their money into building their business and making impact in the world, and who are just looking for tweaks to help them go, hey, I'm feeling a little burnt out and I'm not quite sure how to scale in a new way. And that's what we're here to do today. So these are fun sessions. If it's something you're interested in, go ahead and make sure that you go to, and I'm going to put this, let's see, I have a different page up. There we go. So if you're on the podcast, it's thewomanontrepreneurpodcast.com. If you go to that page, thewomanontrepreneurpodcast.com, at the top of the page, you'll see get your biz breakdown session. And these are absolutely free. It's first come, first serve. And a lot of people are signing up. So we're already moving into advanced months. So make sure if you're like, oh, I want in, Dr. Amanda, get on here as fast as possible. So let's get started. I'm so psyched to have you here. I love getting to meet people on Instagram. So thank you for being willing to come on and chat about your business today, Laura.
Yeah. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Absolutely. So yay. This is fun. Okay. So let's start with this. I like to start with this question. If I could give you a magic wand and you could use it to, in the next year, create whatever you want out of your business, what would that be?
Oh my gosh. I mean, in the most vague terms, I would love to have a business that was financially profitable and making an impact in people's lives, helping improve their lives. And I'm not sure how to fill in the details of what that exactly looks like. But it's funny because I wrote down some notes and I was like, okay, one thing that I would love is to get to a point where I could have a team of people. Okay. Where I don't have to do the nitty gritty stuff of like the graphic design. And, you know, I love when people have beautiful looking PDFs and eBooks, but I'm not good at that. I'm good at coming up with the content and then giving it to someone else and making it look pretty. So I'd love to have a team of one or two people that could do all my social media content for me.
Okay. And awesome.
I'm like, okay, that would be cool right there, but I don't even know what it is yet.
Okay. Ooh, let's dig in a little more here. So one thing you're saying is like delegating powerfully and finding people who are aligned, who would do social media that's in alignment with your brand.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's step back from there a little bit. How long have you been in business? Tell us a little bit of your backstory.
I've been in business a long time, but just different ways. So I started as a personal trainer and just in-person, regular personal training. And then I tried to kind of like move into nutrition realm and then like mindset coaching. And then I put them all together and I was bringing it online a little bit, but then I also was getting really interesting in-person kind of hybrids where, for example, I had a group of people that lived maybe 3 hours away from me. And I coached them on Facebook and I did weekly Facebook coaching and one-on-ones, but then I would go there maybe about once a month and do a seminar or talk with them in person. And then of course work out with them because it was fun. But that was really cool. But then I was like, okay, well, that's not scalable. And how could I maybe make that all online? But it just hasn't really panned out yet. I don't know. And I
Okay.
tried to create a website, and on the online side of things, everyone talks about how you have to have such a specific niche and focus on like that one person. And I haven't narrowed it down. So I've never really created that one specific offer and gone for that with my marketing ever. I just kind of had this huge like blanket website out there.
Okay.
That's
Awesome.
kind of
And
right now.
that makes a lot of sense. And I see this a lot. I think it's one of those things where we come into business and we don't totally have a plan, but we have an inspired vision. And then people are also attracted to you. It sounded like for you with one-on-one clients, you were attracting people just by being yourself and doing awesome personal training and things like that. And on your website, I noticed, I looked at your about, I'm going to put your website up here for everyone to see. So let me take that. So if you're on the podcast, we are looking at Laura's website, and it's Laura, LAURA, S as in Sam, Conley, CONLEY.com. And let me hide that URL so we can see it better. So she is a performance coach, and she helps people with health and well-being. And if you scroll through, it's really awesome. Actually, like on her About Me page, I was checking her out, of course, before we got on today so I could serve her best. She is an elite athlete, and like, wow, I was impressed. So share a little bit there, because it sounds like, I think one of the benefits of being someone in your position is that you are coaching from the perspective of being the position of being very successful in your history of being an athlete. So will you share a little bit there?
Yeah. So I was a professional runner and a triathlete for many, many years. And I still continue to do all my sports, and obviously equestrian too. But I bring that into all of my coaching, whether it's because I also work with just everyday people. You don't have to be an elite athlete to work with me. I work with everyday moms. And I do believe that everybody is an athlete of their life. And the mindset that you need to get to the Olympics is no different than the mindset that, Mrs. Smith needs to get to the gym that day or to work out from her living room. And so I try to bring a lot of my mindset and mentality of what got me there, not to mention the obvious eating and workouts, but combine all of that when I work with people. And it's really cool because I do feel like fitness and health is a journey. And it's not just like the physical journey, but it's also the internal journey. And I love hearing from my clients when they have these ahas about themselves as a human. And that also skyrockets their success with their either weight loss or performance too.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so you just said so many important things about your avatar and the results they're looking for and who you're focusing on. So I just got a lot more clarity. Okay. And so that's really important for you on your page. Okay, so when we look at the About You, it's sharing your story on the homepage. And I know, pre-show you said that you're in the middle of revamping your website.
Yeah, I actually have kind of a mock-up of a whole other website that's being built right now. But okay. I haven't been able to move forward. They keep asking me what to put on there, and I'm like, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, and so I want to share with everyone here, if you're in this place, that's totally okay. I see this time and time again. So if you go back to episode 3 of the Women Entrepreneur podcast, I talk about the zone of manifestation business scaling roadmap. And in that, there are 4 different zones. And one of them, the first zone is the manic imposter zone. And this is kind of like the startup phase where you get really excited about building your business, but you feel like an imposter and you're kind of all over the place. And then you move into zone 2. And this is where 80% of entrepreneurs are. And I see a lot of have you gotten a chance to listen to that episode yet? Does that sound familiar?
Not all the way through yet.
Okay, awesome. So in this zone, the second zone, it's the over deliver and undercharge zone. And this is where you're usually creating a lot of programs, kind of like people are coming to you randomly and it's random people. And then you create a random program for them based on what their needs are. So you're recreating a lot of stuff. And exactly like you're saying, you're kind of like, I'm not sure what my central focus is, which makes it really hard to scale a business. And it makes it really hard to like put content out because you're like, who am I talking to and what am I saying? And I'm not quite sure. Does that resonate?
Exactly how I feel right now.
Yeah.
And I have like, someone from over here with this background and they want a running plan, that I want someone over here and they want a weight loss plan, and then someone over here. And it's like, I can do that. But you're right. I'm creating something from scratch for every person. And the last client I had, I was like, oh my God, I undercharged so much. I undervalued, like, I didn't even realize how many hours of work it was going to take me. And I probably charged her, I don't know, 1% of what it should have cost.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense because it gets really hard to know what to charge when it's like prototyping every time, right?
Yes.
And when we're creating prototypes, we generally tend to way over deliver and undercharge because you just have no idea what it's going to take to get the results in the end. So tell us this. What would you say is like the number one client who was your absolute favorite? You don't have to say names or anything unless you want to, but like the client you love to work with, who you get the best results for, where you feel like you're really humming in your zone of genius. Like you're like, oh my God, I love to do this to get paid. This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. I've had a few women like this, and I can think of, a handful of them where they were so hungry for all of the knowledge that I could give them. One of them was a surgeon, and she was super smart and she knew everything about the body. I mean, like, she cut people open, but I was teaching her things about the ketogenic diet and aerobic running. And she was like, oh my God. And she was just geeking out. And it was so fun because everything I said was so interesting to her. And we just had great conversations. And then she'd go off and do it. And then she'd tell me, oh, I had the best run. And then I have other clients the same way, where like the knowledge I'm giving them, or let's say the workouts, they just love it. And they're so motivated and driven. And then they go and do it and they come back and they just tell me how amazing it is. And even when they have setbacks, I have a client right now where sometimes she has a setback where it's that time of the month or work got in the way, but she's learning to move through them, and we talk about it, and then she has success, and then of course shares her wins. And so I guess the common thread is these women are driven. They are hungry for everything I give them, the knowledge that I teach them. They're very enthusiastic to learn it and implement it. And I don't have to babysit them because they want it. And then they come back and share their wins with me, and we celebrate together. And a lot of times too, they set new goals for themselves. Maybe the initial goal they set with me, they've already surpassed it, and they want to do something else even bigger now because they see what they're capable of. And that's kind of the people that I have a lot of fun with, because I feel like we're in it together. It's like we're teammates. I'm not necessarily always their coach. I'm also the teammate.
I love that. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So notice something, like when you talk about those clients, you light up, right? Which is always an indicator of your zone of genius, because those are the people that you want to be attracting your way. And that's who you want to be spending your day working with. Because what happens when you narrow down from that over deliver and undercharge zone, you start to move into the value yourself more zone, which causes you to shift your identity. So when you're over delivering and undercharging, I think about it often as scattered brand identity. It's like most people in this zone don't have a brand at all, and they're not willing to let go of the clients that they're not that excited to work with because they have FOMO, right? They go like, oh my God, but I got to help everyone. And what if another client never comes? And when in reality, the people that they love to work with, if you got amazing results for those women and you started to have them refer people to you and then attract new clientele from them for being really clear about who you serve, everything gets a lot easier because you're magnetically attracting through your zone of genius and then having other people really notice it. So what happens is you start to get like this brand clarity where you're like, oh, I know who I serve. I know who I get the best results for. And now it's really easy for other people to understand what I do. Right. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And it's funny because I never really put that thread together of some of these people because I guess they was so scattered, but now I can kind of find that thread where I was literally excited to see them and they were excited to see me. It was like, oh my God, it's Tuesday. I get to see so-and-so today. Yes.
Yes.
And those were the
that.
clients that, yeah, you're right. There is kind of those similarities with them.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So something that's a really powerful action step to do here is to write down, like journal about your avatar client and write down every quality that they have and start to get really clear. Yeah. So some of the keywords you said, as you were talking, you said they're knowledgeable. So they're already educated, it sounds like. They already have information, but now you're helping them just do, it sounds like tweaks of what they already know to help them perform at an even higher level. And, you talked about ketogenic diets. They're motivated, they're driven, they're action takers. And those are powerful things to know because it sounds to me like your zone of genius is a lot about, you're not rescuing people. You're not working with the victim-minded women who are like, I'm totally stuck and I have no idea what to do. Instead, you're working with women who are like, I'm ready to take it to the next level. And Laura's the person who can help me do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say the result that they're looking for is? And this is one thing on your website I wanted to, talk to you about. Like when you say want to regain your health and wellness, why would women want to regain their health and wellness by working with you? Like, what is it they're wanting to feel?
I think they want to feel their best. And I think that means abundant energy, healthy body, enthusiastic for life. And I think, again, these people, these women, they want to see what they're capable of.
Ooh.
And it's like, they're not happy with the status quo, with being mediocre. And these are the kind of women that I love working with because they don't just want to like, okay, I want to lose a few pounds. It's like, no, like what can I do? Can she run a marathon in this time? Can she get lean muscle and, throw her kid across the pool? Whatever it is, they want to see what they are capable of and what the limitless like possibilities are, and whether it's, in a sport specifically or just in their life, like how good can they look and feel?
Yeah. Okay. I want you to notice, do you see the difference and kind of feel and experience the difference in what you just said versus want to regain your health and wellness? Like what you're talking about instead is marketing. So whenever we're marketing to people, we want to tap into their feelings, right? Because what they want to feel, like you just said some really cool things. You said abundant energy. So they want to wake up feeling energized.
Right.
They want to be strong enough to throw their kid across the pool, right? Like that. And you can visualize that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God. Yeah. I want to look sexy in my bikini at the pool, throwing my kid across the pool because I want to know what I'm made of.
Yeah.
Right. Like you feel the energetic difference there between that statement and like asking if you want to regain your health and wellness. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So the trick here is when you're building websites and you're building content and, will you share a little bit about where you're at in the content? What's your favorite platform, social media wise, and how are you feeling about content?
I am not feeling good about content. I've been on kind of Instagram and Facebook because you can also like cross-pollinate without having to post both places.
Yeah.
And I guess I kind of feel like I'm in a rut because I haven't known who I was talking to and I didn't know what to talk about. And I'm learning about myself through this process. A lot of what I create is sparked by ideas of actually working with a client. So for example, training one of my clients, and she asks me, how do I get enough protein? I'm having a hard time getting enough protein in my diet. And what should I eat for breakfast? And then that gave me the idea, I should do a social media post about protein.
Yeah.
And then, so working with people and then getting ideas from that and sparking me just through conversations or sometimes listening to someone else's podcast or reading something. I love to geek out on science and then share what I've learned with everybody else. But I just haven't really been in that zone of like inspired creation lately.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense because when we feel disinspired, it's because we're confused. And when we're confused, we don't feel inspired because we're like, I'm not sure what next step to take. And
Yeah.
that doesn't feel very good. Right. And then, especially when you're putting stuff out there and it's crickets and you're like, I'm not really connecting with anybody, it doesn't feel very rewarding to be putting stuff out there.
Yeah.
And so the opposite thing happens when you start to get really clear on who your avatar is, because what will happen is you start to feel like you can read their minds. And then when you're creating content, you're just speaking right to them. Right.
Yeah.
And so I love, like, I think for you, a really powerful step would be to do a lot of journaling about your avatar and writing down, like, what are the top 10 burning questions that your favorite clients have had that you've helped them to solve.
Okay.
And when you start to do that, what will happen is you start to get this brainstorming session going in your mind, and you're like, oh my God, yes, this, and you'll start to see overlaps. And so, so far we've determined that it's women that you're focusing on. What age, do you have an age range that you would say?
Probably somewhere between like 25 to 50.
Okay. 25 to 50.
That young, maybe 30 to 50.
Okay. 30 to 50. It's high achieving women, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely, when you said one of the first one was a doctor, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So
but what's interesting is, I will say, some of them wouldn't necessarily call themselves high achieving.
Okay.
So one of them, she'll be happy, but we just had this conversation a few times on our last coaching call. She's a professional horseback riding equestrian, and she switched. People who don't know what horses, there's like different events. So she switched from 3-day eventing into dressage. And she's like, well, I don't really consider myself a dressage rider because I didn't start there.
Okay.
So she wouldn't even consider herself a high achiever, even though this is what she does for a living. And she's, I don't fifth in the nation or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. And that's going to be a common thing because a lot of women undervalue themselves, right? So it's like they minimize their accomplishments. And a lot of this has to do with imposter syndrome. And so when you're speaking to these women in your marketing and in your content, it's like speaking to that. Like you've accomplished a lot, but you don't feel successful. And then it's like focusing on that body part too, because it sounds like you're mostly working with health, wellness, peak performance, athleticism, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the mindset behind that. So that's what I'm talking about. When you're getting into the mind of your avatar, this is by far the most important thing in marketing. And then it helps you create all of your content. It's like, gets so easy because you go like, today, when you wake up and you go, what is my avatar staying up at night worrying about?
Okay.
That's what you want to be marketing to. That's what you want to be sharing. That's the message you want on your website. And then it gets really easy because you go like, God, they're worried that maybe they're in pain in their body somewhere. Maybe they're feeling like they're aging. Maybe they're feeling like they want to be as fit as they used to be. Right. Yeah. Like I would, I could say these things because I'm like, I'm in my 40s now and I'm like, man, I used to be like such a badass athlete. And now I'm like, wow, I have to work a lot harder for it. And I often compare myself to my 20 or 30-year-old version of myself where I'm like, I used to be able to run 40 miles a week and be totally fine. So that kind of stuff is what you want to start really tapping into. And I can already tell for you, it's like, it reawakens that inspired part of you that's like, oh yeah, this is who I love to work with, because it's inspiring to get those results for women and attract the right women.
Yeah. And then I love to see how it trickles out into their lives in other ways too, because it does affect everything else. It affects their relationships too. I've had plenty of people tell me I saved their marriages.
Wow.
Because, when you feel good about yourself, you're open to the connection. And I think a lot of women, when you don't feel good about yourself and you don't feel confident, you close off to relationships and
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everyone here listening or watching, like, think about body confidence and how good you feel when you have body confidence.
Yes.
Right? Like, oh my God, it's night and day. And women, we could talk about men and women differently. It's like women are socialized to care a lot about how they look.
Yes.
you know, and how you feel in your body and whether you feel strong, especially if you've been an athlete, because it sounds like you're talking to women and working with women who have had a history of being women who work out.
Yeah. Either, I mean, I've had some new ones too, but I think to most of them, they've either, you know, worked out or they have body awareness.
Yeah. Okay.
Where, you know.
Okay. So this is an important differentiation for you too. It's that you are talking to women who already are somewhat problem aware and solution aware. Like they're seeking you when they already know, like, oh, I want to feel better in my body. Mm-hmm. Some, you know, if you were talking to the level even before that, they would just feel off and they wouldn't even know what was going on. So that's not who you're marketing to.
Yeah.
Right? You're marketing to women who are like, I'm ready to take it to the next level. Like even someone who knows what a ketogenic diet is someone who's somewhat health conscious.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the people who they've come to me, like, for example, when I was coaching that group, they would come to me with questions, like they would find things on their own and then bring the questions to me and say, well, what do you think about this? And then I would tell them what I thought about it. And then they'd come off and say, oh, I just heard about this thing. Have you heard of, like, for example, BCAAs, branched chain amino acids? Have you heard of those? What do you think of them? And I'm like, great. I'm so glad you brought that up. Let's talk about it. But you're right. It's not the person who's never heard of it, not looking into anything on their own. These are people who are proactively looking and finding things like vitamins or workout plans. And then they come to me and ask, what do you think about that? And then I tell them why it may or may not be a good idea for them.
Awesome. So they're looking to you to be the next level expert on these topics.
Yeah. Because I think too, a lot of times there's a lot of information out there, like cookie cutter programs. And I think every person is so individual that it's like, yeah, you can go and you can buy a package program that's going to tell you what to eat and how to work out. But if it's not nuanced for your lifestyle, maybe, for example, the last client I just had, she was trying to do the Whole30, but she cut her carbs so much, she was getting depressed and getting anxious. And I said, whoa. Let's work on that and get specific around it. You need more carbs than what this plan is telling you. Awesome. And then she felt better and lost more weight. So that's the kind of thing where I think I get a little bit specific with each person.
Okay. So here's this. That's the next layer I want to talk to you about because it's something you said where you're you don't have a program to promote, which causes that problem also with over delivering and undercharging because there's too many scattered things going on. Yeah. So something that I think some people are afraid of is they're afraid to create a package or like a specific package or program because they're, again, afraid they're going to lose out on people who, you know, maybe don't fit into that mold. The cool thing about one-on-one coaching, and I highly recommend actually for coaches to, before they're to the 6-figure level, to create one package or program for one-on-one clients and build that up and get lots of awesome results. And then you can, you know, branch out into masterminds and doing different things like that as you're building your community and your expert platform. But it can be tailored, right? So you can have a package that you still tailor to the person, but it's one package or program. And for you, I'd say program is, or you could call it either thing, whatever feels more aligned to you, but it's like your system. Okay. So the way that you talk about it really matters because people want to look to you to know the answers. They're already coming to you and asking you for those answers. Right. So then you walk them through your system and they're like, they feel comfortable and safe knowing you're going to walk them through a step-by-step, you know, it's like a formula, a system, a roadmap, something along those lines. And it can be really simple, Laura. Like my first program I created, I didn't have a landing page. I really did not go that route. I just talked to people through consults and I had literally a Google spreadsheet, it was at the time, actually it was Excel. And I created this, it might've been Google. It was like Google Sheet, Excel style. And it had like week 1 through 12 with the topic of each week. And then what their action step, like homework would be. Okay. And then when I'd get on a consult with them, I'd walk them through and then I'd say, you know, every person's going to have their own tailored experience because I'm going to walk you through this, but each week you're going to go through the exact same program and we're going to tailor it to the exact specific results that you're looking for. Okay. And when you do this, what happens is it gets so easy to create content and to market because you know exactly what you're selling. And always remember, a confused mind doesn't buy. Similarly, a confused mind doesn't know how to sell.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's because you have nothing to sell, right? You're confused within it in yourself. So you're like, I'm not
Yes.
sure what to talk about. What's
Yes.
really cool is when you outline this program, it could be like 8 or 12 weeks,
Okay.
and then you charge a specific amount. And then you walk people through that in the consult, and you'll be so shocked how people love, like, I mean, I'll pull up the sheet when I'm on a Zoom with people, and I'll walk them through it, and they're like, oh, ooh, and they'll start asking questions about different weeks. And by the end of it, you email that to them after the consult and follow up, and they're like, they're either ready to go or not. And they're either a one, and this is how you want to treat it. Like, you're either a 100% like heaven yes, or it's a no. And you treat it like, I'm not desperate or needy to work with people. I am a master at what I do. I'm certain I can get you results. And when you're ready to work with me, bring it on. Let's go. Because it sounds like you get incredible results.
I do. Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, talk about over deliver. Sometimes I get the results where I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah. You're like, wow, I'm always way undercharging.
Why didn't we take before pictures, or why didn't,
yes.
X, Y, Z? Because the results were amazing.
Yes. Well, and that's important for you to remember. Definitely take before and after pictures.
Yeah.
And then do you have like social proof that you're gathering as you go through and get results for women?
I haven't done enough yet. A lot of those clients I was telling you were either in person or over the phone. And I'm kind of shooting myself because I had some great text messages that I should have screenshot. They were amazing. Like, And I don't even know if these women would let me share them. One of them was talking about her, like, how her ass became amazing shape, and guys were like looking at it all the time, and I was like, well, that's a pretty good testimonial right there.
Right. Well, and I love that you said this, Laura, because like when you look at your website, that's what gets people. They're like, you want an awesome ass, and then you can make like a fun joke in there, be like, we all know everyone wants this, even though we don't say it.
Yeah.
Like, I want that. Like, we all want that.
Well, the funny thing too is she was a running client. We had not talked about, her body or reshaping anything. It was just, she wants to get faster running.
Yeah.
And then from the program,
very cool.
There you go. It's just a side benefit.
Yeah. So that's where it gets playful in marketing, where you go like, hey, not only working with me will you be faster at running, you'll get your PR, you will also have the best ass. Your butt will look good at the beach or whatever,
You cross the finish line, everyone's looking at you.
Yes, exactly. Like, as you pass everyone, because I'm helping you get the best time ever, they're going to be looking at how sexy your butt is.
Yeah.
And it sounds funny, but like, that's what we want, right? Like, so you're always marketing to what people want, not what they need. Okay. Right. So it's like the feelings they want to have is what we're marketing to. And this will help you a lot with creating content. So I just gave you a ton of downloads of information. Tell me for you, what's key takeaways so far?
The biggest one is just who I'm focusing on. And it's like, I feel silly because it was so obvious right in front of me this whole time. And I guess part of it was the reluctance to push other people out and say, well, if I focus on just this one person, then I can't take on these other people. But now I feel good about it because I love working with these women in this way. And the other clients that I've had that have been torturous to me, I think to myself, why would I even want to work with those people anyway? It was so brutal.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest takeaways is just focusing on this person and, focusing on the feeling. And then the other takeaway too, that kind of gets me a little bit caught up, is kind of creating that outline, let's say for the weeks of what we're going to do each week. And maybe that's also going to be a little bit trial and error and see, maybe I think week 2, we should talk about protein, and it doesn't really work out very well in that order. So
Yeah. Something you can do is you can have like let's say it's an 8 or 12 week program. You can have like the topics that will be covered, and then you could have it in modules where, let's say one person on week 1 is all of a sudden you're noticing like, oh, they kind of need week 4 material before they need week 2. And so you can just disperse it, but you already have it prepped and ready. Don't create all of it before. Like, I want you to get your first client in the new program and create as you go. That's the smartest way to do it, because then you're not wasting a whole bunch of time and energy creating a program that nobody buys. You want to like outline it in your mind with just like that simple outline. And then each week create the content as you go. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
That's the easiest way to do it, because I've made this mistake before where I created like an entire course and then one person bought it. Oh. I'm like, oh, so I've learned now, and I would only create like as I start promoting it and someone buys it, then I create when I'm just like a week ahead of them. Right. Okay. And then what will happen? You'll learn a whole bunch, and then you bring your next person in and you get results for them, and make sure you get before and afters. Yeah. Because then you have that social proof. Right. Okay. So action step for you in closing up is that I definitely do that avatar work. And so write down, the top pain points. So these are the kind of questions you want to be asking yourself, like write down everything you can, the demographics, like age and all of those things, location, is it US based? Is it local based? Like that kind of thing. But then most importantly is the psychographics. And that's what they're thinking and feeling. Oh, okay. Like what are their top pain points? What keeps them up at night? What worries them that you can solve? Right. And then think about all the things that you love to do. And that's how you piece the program together. And yes. And I love to help people do these kinds of things. So I'll be following up with you so that I want to make sure that you get some help doing the avatar and starting to map out your program. Before we go, I want you to share, like give us a 30-second, like kick-ass spiel to inspire people to check you out, both on Instagram and on your website.
Well, I feel like we already talked about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I love when the women come to me and they say how good they feel in their clothes. I love when they tell me they have to buy new clothes because their old clothes don't fit. Or recently she's like, I'm back in my skinny jeans again. And that feeling of being able to fit into those skinny jeans or that thing. And also just looking in the mirror and feeling like, damn girl, like looking good. And I have women tell me, they walk past the mirror and then they stop and like, check it out. Oh my God. I had one where she was like flexing her shoulder at herself. Like, look at the new line I have.
Love it.
Little things like that seem like insignificant, but when it's you and your body and you feel, and I always tell people, when you know that you've worked for it, you earned it, and you feel so proud of yourself, then seeing the results feels even better. Because you didn't just magically have a shoulder. It was like, no, that you worked for it. You worked out, you ate, you did the things, and now you're feeling proud of yourself and seeing the physical results.
Yes.
Also, I love when people just want to run a race and they surprise themselves with, oh, I never thought I could do a 10K, or I never thought I wasn't a runner. I wasn't into that sport before, and now they're successful.
I love it. There's so many awesome things you just said. And I want you, like, definitely once this is released, go back and listen to all the things you said. That's really powerful, because that's what you're targeting, right? You want the women to be like, I'm coming to you because you're going to help me look in the mirror and feel sexy. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel powerful. I'm going to have like new muscle lines, like all of those things that you're saying. Like, I don't know a woman my age who doesn't want to feel that way. So the whole world is your oyster, right? And you're talking about women who are in like, just whittle it down to like the clarity of who it is you're focusing on, and it'll get easier and easier. So for all of you listening, if you want to work with Laura and have that sexy butt, defined lines, feel strong,
or whatever body part you want.
Yes, exactly. Like toned arms, and be able to feel strong in your body and confident and look good and feel good. Check Laura out. So she's Laura S. as in Sam Conley, CONLEY.com, Laura S. Conley.com. And then on Instagram, she is Laura S. Conley. Laura S. Conley, and check her out.
That's the S, because there's another Laura Conley out there.
Yes. Okay. And so like, I would love to keep talking to you about all this, like the branding aspect of it, and how much fun it can be to create this program. So before we go, last thing, do you have any ideas yet about what the program name will be?
Oh my gosh.
I know I'm totally putting you on the spot. I love coming up with program names. It's so fun.
A long time ago, someone told me that I should have my program called The Win. And I'm like, that doesn't really tell you, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
But
I agree with you. I think it could be something fun in the tagline, but the program name, like start daydreaming and brainstorming ways of having it be so clear what the result is that they're going to get.
Yeah.
Or the identity of who they are going through the program. And don't overcomplicate it. Like make it simple. Like imagine that someone could type it into SEO and understand it. So start playing with that. Like come up with some names.
So when you say the identity of someone going through it, what do you mean?
Like what they're going to get at the end of it, like millionaire mindset, is like, they're like, oh, I'm going to get a millionaire mindset going through this program. Like that'd be something in my world, right? For you, it'd be like something along those lines. I would want to start
Olympic body, or I don't know.
Totally. Like, yeah. And people overthink this. Like the program I was talking about that maybe several $100,000 was called the Business Accelerator Program. Like not that sexy of a name, but like straightforward and obvious. Right. Okay. And so just think in those lines. And then my mastermind is NFA Money Mamas. So people who know who NFA is no fucking around. So it's no fucking around Money Mama Mastermind. They're like, at least they have some indication like, oh, cool, I'm going to be like a money mama, money mama in my business, something along those lines. But come up with some ideas. I'm going to follow up with you. And so come up with some ideas and I can help you brainstorm.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being on. It was really fun. I could chat with you for hours because you've got so many cool things. And I mean, really, congratulations on staying in the game of being an entrepreneur and making an impact in the world. Like it's really, really awesome. So let's just start getting you scaling now so that you can make buckets of money helping women feel good in their bodies.
Yes.
Yay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here again for another biz breakdown session. And until next time, NFA money making high fives. Hey friends, just a quick reminder that I'm looking for women entrepreneurs who want to do a biz breakdown session with me on this show, just like the one that you heard on today's episode. Think of this as a zone of manifestation audit to help you scale your business and make money more easily. During our recorded session, you'll get free money coaching from me with clear action steps that will help you scale your business more easily. And of course, as a guest on the show, you'll be able to promote your business and get some extra exposure. I'm doing this on a first come, first served basis. So head on over to www.thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for your biz breakdown session today.